Hi, welcome to this calming practice. It's called A Certain Slant of Light. That's a poem by David Budbill I will share with you at the end of our practice today. The theme is about relaxing, which in Sanskrit is shamatha, or calm abiding is another name for it. This softening into spaces. And so we'll be working with slight variations of very common practices. So that's the different slant or perspective, and hopefully that makes this practice more meaningful, and you gain some insight with that. So let's begin. Please start on the back. And you're going to lie with your legs straight out on the mat, hands in a comfortable place. And I'd like to start with what the Bihar yoga system calls anti-rheumatic practices. So basically mobilizing the joints and making the joints feel more fluid. As you inhale, you're going to open the hands and open your toes as wide as you can. That's your breath in. Breathe in down through the nose if you'd like. And then exhale, make fists with your hands, and you're going to squeeze your toes like you're making fists with your feet. And go back and forth like this a few times, breathing into abdomen. So we're breathing into our center and moving our periphery. Back and forth like this through extension and flexion in arms, in hands and feet as you breathe. A few more times here. Yeah, so notice how you are breathing into center, mobilizing your limbs. Head can stay relaxed. Another couple times. Okay. Great. And then relax your hands, bend your knees, and place your feet on the floor. And find your footfall. You're going to press your feet down into the ground. Upper body stays relaxed. So shamatha in the upper body, calm abiding in the upper body. And as you inhale, you press your feet down and peel your spine up off the floor. So that's using legs, some low back muscles, the glutes. As you exhale, you return to the floor. And repeat this in vinyasa. That means the breath is leading the movement. Inhale up into your bridge. Exhale, you lower down. And as you are mobilizing your legs, hips, and low back, shoulders heavy and relaxed, arms soft, head heavy and relaxed. Go back and forth like this another few times. Notice if one foot wants to press down more than the other. Maybe one foot leads at the beginning of your lift, the other foot takes over sometime halfway up. So feel even weight between feet. Another couple times here. Okay, great. And then at the end of your next exhale, hips are on the ground, step your legs and feet together, hands now underneath head, and we'll mobilize hips and shoulders and the rest of the spine. As you inhale, take your elbows and knees out to the side and down. You can also arch your back, and for mobilizing the neck, also look behind you, so it's extension of the spine. And then as you exhale, knees together, elbows together, lift your head and shoulders up off the floor. It's a slow version of the old-fashioned crunch. Go back and forth like this with this double butterfly practice. And so we've mobilized hands and feet. We've mobilized hips and low back in one way. Here's the second way to do it. And this whole time, eyes stay relaxed. There's shamatha, there's calm abiding in your tongue. Eyes feel heavy, eyelids can relax, open or closed. Even as much of the body's doing work. Nice. And then you can place your head on the ground. Draw your right knee into chest. And you can leave your left foot on the floor. If you'd like to, you can extend it forward. Yogi's choice on that. But you're going to draw your knee into the chest on exhale. And then hold the back of your hamstring and press your heel up on in-breath. So that's your inhale as the heel's pressing up. Exhale, you draw your knee into chest. And go back and forth like this. So this is trying to mobilize your right knee and your hip as much as you can. So in this way, you are using your arms to facilitate the stretch and the movement, head still relaxed. So oftentimes our focus is on what's moving, but for a slightly different perspective, you can also focus on what can relax. So you feel the weight of your skull, feel your jaw relaxed, tongue relaxed. There might be some, like a history of jaw tightening, tensioning. So you can just keep a relaxed awareness around jaw, tongue, and head. Good, yeah. Inhale as you press the heel up. On your next exhale, you can place your right foot on the floor. You can slide it forward if that's what you were doing on the first side. And as you exhale, draw your left knee in. Give it a good hug. And then hold behind your hamstring as you press your heel up toward the ceiling. That's your in-breath. Exhale, you hug your knee in again and repeat this several times. The heel's pressing up. Leg doesn't have to be completely extended if that's not in your wheelhouse. Just go to where you can go. So you're finding the range of motion in the joint of your left knee and some flexion in your left hip. There's also some work pressing the heel up in your ankle. So you go back and forth like this another few times. Inhale in the hamstring and calf stretch. Exhale as you hug it in. Okay. And then as you inhale, place your left foot on the floor. Notice the feedback that your legs are giving you. Take a deep breath into abdomen. And then exhale. Now you're going to draw both knees into chest. And as you inhale, hands behind your hamstring, press your heels up toward the ceiling. Go back and forth like this. So this is more dynamic. And this is also a tiny bit of like light core work. You're going to get the quads working as you press your heel up. You might feel your psoas engage. And as you draw this in, you might feel your hamstrings engage. So the heat building is more thanks to the movement than strong action. And as you're doing this, your arms are working, your legs are working, but you can really relax your head into the ground. Feel your neck soft. Feel your TMJ, your jaw joint relax. Eyes heavy, ears heavy. And another few times with this last Bihar movement, the anti-rheumatic practice here. So all the joints in our bodies have been warmed up. Okay, great. And then from there, place your feet flat on the floor. Notice the space you're breathing into. Notice your abdomen. It might feel pleasantly warm. Legs, a lot of feedback coming from the legs. And then extend your left leg forward. Draw your right knee in the chest, and we're going to take it over for a supine twist. So you take your knee across, hold that knee with your left hand. Your right arm either could go out to the side, straight, or if you'd like, hand underneath head. It just gives a different stretch for the shoulder. So whatever feels more interesting to you, either right arm extended or right hand underneath head. Arch your back here, squeeze the muscles in your low back, and as your knee goes to the right, roll your heart to the, as your knee goes to the left, roll your heart to the right. Okay, now take some breath down your right side into right underarm, your ribs, so the breath is a little more thoracic. Allow the pose to work on you. You can imagine this you're in the pose. The pose itself is doing the work. And you can focus on what you can relax. So bottom leg, press the heel out every now and then otherwise you can relax it. As always, relax. Feel the weight of the head. If the head's not needed, relax your eyes, your jaw, your tongue. And let the pose work on you for another few breaths down your right side. All right. And then notice the return to center as you come back in to midline. Pause with your feet on the floor, knees bent. Yeah, so feel the sort of like restorative action of coming back to midline. Deep inhale here. Extend your right knee forward. Exhale, draw left knee in and across. So we'll take a supine twist. So your knee is going out to the right. Yogi's choice, if you preferred one arm position on the first side, you can try to replicate it here, either arm straight out to the side or hand underneath head. One might prove a little more interesting, or it might just feel more effective for your practice today. So we're twisting the opposite way. Give your spine and the muscles around it a few breaths to adapt, to acclimate to the twist in the opposite direction. And as the spine gets used to being in a twist in this direction, you can then start to adjust. You can arch your back a little bit. And as your knee goes to the right, you can roll your heart and your navel to the left. So you breathe down your left side, breathe into the stretch, breathe into the twist, breathe into the heart opening, however you're experiencing this. It might be, or it definitely is different from person to person. Every person's going to have a different take on this, a different slant. But you can breathe down your left side. Every now and then, the straight leg, your bottom leg, press your right heel forward to lengthen the leg. You might lengthen through the psoas, and then you relax again. And then for the last 30 seconds here, let the pose work on you. Even though there are things being done, allow your head to relax. You can find the shamatha in the pose, the settling, the calm abiding. A couple more breaths here. All right, very good. And then you're going to come back to center and notice that return, that restoration of the midline. Come back to the middle, notice the after effects. Can you feel your head even heavier as you return to center? Very good. And then after your next, after your next inhale, exhale, you come up to seated. And I'm going to say have your, I'm going to put the strap by the side, have your block at the ready behind you in case you'd like to use it for a better back arm position. We're going to take Marichiasana A first, so with a twist. The right leg stays straight. Please bend your left knee and place your left foot on the ground. And that means you're going to twist to the right, so this is an open twist. Like the thigh's not in the way, it's open range here to breathe into. So my right hand is back behind me. On the floor, I feel like I can get like a decent leverage to help the twist. But on the block, I just feel like I have that much more of an option for my back arm. My front arm, the elbow presses into the thigh. My back hand, the arm presses down into the block. And as you inhale, arch your back. And as you exhale, roll your navel back. And I usually, to focus on the navel rolling back, I usually counter-rotate my head and look past my front toes. Okay, so this is a static posture. We're not moving a ton. but the energetic movements are arching back on inhale and then rolling navel to the right and behind me as I keep my head forward. So it's a counter rotation of the head. Breathe into abdomen, maybe breathe into the right side, wherever you're feeling a stretch. Pause here another few breaths as you're using your arms, or you're using our legs a little bit. Let the navel relax so you can breathe into it. And of course, eyes are relaxed, tongue is relaxed. All right, very good. So come out of that, extend both legs forward. Notice the return of the spine to midline. I'm going to change directions, you don't have to. I'm switching for demonstration purposes. And now we're going to change it up. So please keep your left leg forward, right foot comes onto the floor. So you're going to arch your back a little bit, turn your navel and your heart to the left. Left hand, again, whatever height, if the block is helpful, go ahead and use it. If it's not helpful, use the floor. Front elbow presses into thigh. Your back hand presses into the block. So the arms, the organs of action, are going to help facilitate the twist. As you inhale, arch your spine, lift your lungs. And then as you exhale, roll your navel to the left and back. And when I look beyond my front toes, so my head's counter-rotated, when I look beyond my front toes, for me at least, it feels like I can focus on the low back and the navel rolling. So it's less of a twist from the sternum and more of a twist from the low back. And in terms of developing a stabilizing energy, the kidneys, the low back are where it's at least in Chinese medicine. Kidneys are the source of qi, the energy in the body. And so I focus a lot on low back. So you breathe into low back, you can focus your attention and your breath into lower abdomen. Use your arms to facilitate the twist. Let your abdomen be the organ of reception on this one. The arms are the organ of action. And a couple more breaths here. Okay, great. And then return to center. Extend both legs forward. And feel the midline, feel along the front of the spine, inseam of the legs, right up through your center of attention, consciousness. Between the eyes, feel the midline. All right, so that was an open twist. We're now going to take a closed twist. Place your left foot on the floor again. You're going to arch your back a little bit on inhale. We're now going to twist. To the left. Back hand on the block or the floor. Front arm now wraps around your front leg. And as I hug my knee in, if it's not pinching your hip flexor, you can hug it in a little bit, and I can take my back hand to the navel and roll it back. Okay, so we're twisting to the left, and now it's a closed twist. As you inhale, you can still arch your spine. Exhale, roll your navel to the left. And what I focus on here is as I'm twisting to the left, I see if I can breathe into my right kidney space, my right low back. So if you can get literally the skin of the navel past the thigh, it stretches along the right low back. And then see if you can breathe into the right low back. It might feel a bit easier to place breath in your low back because there's a thigh in the way of our abdomen, at least for most of us. So you can breathe into right side, notice your right side, jaw soft, eyes are relaxed. Several more breaths here into right side. And let your low back receive the benefits of the twist and the benefits of the breath. All right, very good. And then you come out of that, release, extend both legs forward, notice the return to midline. Take a deep breath here. All right, and then please now bend your right knee and place your right foot on the floor, turning around again for demonstration purposes. You hug your knee in after you place the foot. Arch your back a little bit here, and then exhale, you're going to twist to the right. Okay. The back hand can be on the block or on the floor, as we've been doing. Front arm now wraps around your thigh. You can hug in to facilitate the twist, especially the sensations in the low back. Take your back hand and roll your navel past your thigh, so the navel's going toward the back arm. And for me, as I arch my back here, that move feels like it gets me, my mind's eye, more into my left low back. And because I'm hugging my thigh in, there's a thigh in the way of the breath in the center of my abdomen, I can now gear my breath toward my left kidney. So it's as if I'm breathing into my left low back. As your arms work and as your legs work, see if you can find those calm spaces within your system as well. So those are the organs of reception. The eyes are soft, tongue is receptive, receiving, jaws receiving, and particularly the breath into the abdomen, the abdominal organs are receiving the benefits of this twist. So you can breathe into your left side another few times here. Okay, very nice. And then you release out of that into midline again. Notice how things are feeling. Notice what you've done. Notice what you have received in terms of sensation, blood flow, lymph flow. All right. Great. And then, so from here you can either, and I'm going to mirror you now. So this is my left leg, but you're going to take your right knee into chest. You can keep your left leg in, or you can send it straight out. It doesn't matter for what we're doing. Okay. So yogi's choice. Either your left leg can be straight or bent, but your right knee is in, and either A, you're going to hold it here and go back and forth like this, or B, if your knee is okay and you have the range in your hip, you're going to hold your right foot with your other hand, and then you're going to externally rotate your right leg. So your one hand's holding the knee, your other hand's holding the foot. There are two sort of spectrums of movement on this one. Is how much you can hug your shin in. That's going to influence the stretch on your hip, and you can hug it in as much or as little as you'd like. And as I go back and forth here, I usually exhale, I press the foot in one direction and roll my navel opposite, because I'm tightening and twisting. And then inhale, I come toward open twist, so I can breathe into the belly as my knee goes to the right. Exhale, as I press my foot to the left, I roll my belly opposite. So you can go back and forth like this. I'm moving my head to indicate where the energy in my navel is going, but you really don't have to. You can actually kind of keep your head straight ahead and focus on when your shin goes one way, your belly goes the other. This helps wring out both kidneys. There's also some anti-rheumatic work in the hip. And for people with tight outer legs, this is a really, really good way to loosen up the outer legs. Okay, great. And release that before we do the other side. And notice how your right hip feels, your right low back feels. All right, nice. And then you can hug your left knee in. And this is option number one, just to take the knee inward and the knee outward. If you're experiencing issues with knee or hip on this side, this is all fine and good. If you'd like to, you hold the foot with your right hand, the knee with your other hand, And now some external rotation in your left hip. So the two spectrums of movement we're going to work with, and you can work one or both and to your preference. The tighter you hug it in, the more you flex, the more IT band and smaller hip rotators you're going to get stretched. That's one way to work this. The other way is by sliding the shin in one direction and rolling your navel opposite. So as my knee goes out to the left, my belly rolls to the right. This is open. I can now breathe into it. And then exhale, roll your navel opposite shin, and you can wring it out as you exhale. And of course, I'm moving my head in the way my abdomen is turning. But really what you could do is just be this kind of like, it's almost like your head's like a neutral party. Neutral observers, kind of observing what's happening by contrasting leg movement with abdominal movement. And the jaw is relaxed, your tongue is heavy, your eyes are soft. Yeah, another couple times here. All right. Very nice. And then from there, release your left leg into basic cross-legged position. Notice the after effects in your left hip through left low back. All right. Very nice. And then from here, we're going to come to a virasana. So that's sitting on the heels like this. And so if this doesn't work for any reason, don't worry, the vinyasa that we're going to apply this to, you don't need to be here. But if you can't quite sit on the heels, you can always take a block underneath heels. If the ankles, sorry, not underneath the hips. And if the ankles don't like this, you can come forward and either curl the toes under, pause like this, or you can add some extra props underneath your ankle as well. So there's a couple breaths here. And from there, we've now come up to, it's never going to be cobra. We're not going into a back bend. Place your block to your, I'm still mirroring you, so place the block to your left. If you need extra cushion underneath your knees, go ahead and roll up your mat. But from here, your left hand goes to the block. Your right arm is going to reach up and over. Okay? And this is the constancy. The constant work is in this side body work here on the left. As you inhale, press your hips forward a little bit and lift your lungs. And as you exhale, you can shift your hips back a little or all the way down to your hips, or down to sitting on your heels. And go back and forth like this a few times. Hips forward on inhale, hips back and down on exhale. Just kind of notice how the movement of your hips influences your outer hips and low back. Go back and forth like this. And as I press my hips forward, I'll usually breathe into the side I'm stretching. So do this a couple more times, really kind of teasing open some of these smaller, more kind of core line fibers around the hips. You might feel this close to the spine. The QL is a party to this one. That's the muscle between your hips and your floating ribs. Okay, great. And then you release your hand back either to seated or a cobra. Pause there for a moment, take a breath in. Can move the block or change the block over to the other side. Okay, and then we're going to come up into cobra again, or cobra prep. We're not doing cobra. And now you're going to take your right hand to the block and reach your left arm up and over. Okay? So the constant stretch is here on your left side. So you're lengthening up, lengthening up. As you inhale, press your hips forward, and you'll notice the stretch change somewhat. And as you exhale, sit your hips back a little bit, a fair amount, or all the way down toward onto your heels. And go back and forth like this. Inhale to press your hips forward. Exhale, you lower your hips back and down. And go back and forth like this several times. And as you are repeating this, notice the either slight or possibly even dramatic changes happening into your in your left low back, around your left hips. A few more times here. All right, very good. And one more breath into your left low back, and then exhale. You can come out of that. Pause here in Cobra Prep, or back on your heels. All right, and so we got the side bodies. The kidney space opened up quite a lot. We're now going to explore that in our downward facing dog next. So from hands and knees, you're going to step your feet wider, about mat's distance apart, and then you're going to lift your hips back and up. And yes, this is a hamstring stretch, but I'd like you to focus on, it's like a different slant, a different perspective on downward facing dog. Lift your heels, bend your knees, and really focus on squeezing the muscles in your low back. And what I'm hoping that does is really expand and relax the belly. So the object here is not to draw your navel in tight, that restricts movement in the abdomen, to actually relax your navel and relax it wide. And the feet wider help kind of like relax especially the organs in the lower abdomen. Helps relax it wider. Now breathe deeply into your abdomen. So sitting bones are lifting up toward the ceiling, your inner thighs are lifting up toward the ceiling. So you can really feel this buoyancy in your low back and across your abdomen. And then you breathe into it. Breathe into the buoyancy. Very nice. And one last time here, deep breath in. Okay, and then you can step your feet together, step forward, and we're going to come into a wide-legged forward fold with a similar intention. So rather wide, hands still forward as if you were in downward facing dog. So now the legs are even wider, which means there's the potential to find even more width. From left to right, more side-to-side expansion. Lift your heels a little, bend your knees, and then arch your back, lift your sitting bones up toward the ceiling. So now there's as much space as possible across belly. If you'd like to, you can press the heels down, but don't worry about the hamstring so much, especially if it winds up tucking the tailbone down. You can bend your knees, come up onto your tippy toes a little bit. And really work on the lift. It's almost like it's like a sacrum is like full of helium. It's just lifting up toward the ceiling. And then breathe into abdomen. Several breaths here. Several breaths in our wide-legged forward fold. Heads relaxed, jaws relaxed, tongues relaxed. So if it feels okay for your neck, you can relax your head like a Christmas ornament dangling off a tree. Couple more breaths here. Okay, Great, and then you can bend your knees, heel toe yourself together, and come to hands and knees. And with knees and feet a little wider than hips, take a couple cat-cow practices. So you're going to squeeze the muscles of your low back. Look up toward the ceiling. That's all on in-breath. You breathe into navel, and then exhale. Now you can really slide the tailbone down, engage your glutes, and press the hips forward a little to compress your abdomen, and go back and forth like this. Very good. So one last inhale for a last cow, one last cat. Okay, and then come lie belly down in Sphinx pose, which if this is even too much, you can take your elbows out to the sides, but default is here in Sphinx pose. Okay, and so this is option number one. You're going to either A, look over one shoulder and squeeze one kidney space, squeeze your low back, and then you come back to center, and then you look over the other shoulder, squeeze your kidney space, and then you come back to center. So go back and forth like this a few times. As you squeeze one side, you're going to stretch the other a little bit. So as you're squeezing one side, you're breathing opposite. And the head's relaxed. Well, the head's not relaxed, but the head might be up a little bit. But the face is relaxed, jaw is soft, tongue is relaxed. And so this is option number one. If you'd like to, you can expand this up into Cobra. If you have it in your low back and you're comfortable with coming up into Cobra, exhale, you would look behind you, squeeze the muscles in your low back. So you see how really it's the same thing. It's just there's more extension in Cobra, less extension in Sphinx pose. You go back and forth like this another few times. Okay, great. And then you come back to center and relax on the floor. Your head can be down or to one side. And take a couple deep breaths into abdomen. Okay. And then from here, we're going to stretch on the left by bending your right knee out to the right. And you're going to slide your knee out as far as you can. If it's on the floor and the inner knee doesn't like that, feel free to scoot over and put your knee on your mat, or if there's a blanket around, you can do that. So so the right knee is out to the right. Your head and your arms are now going to go to the right, as far as feels like it makes sense. And then curl your back toes under. Left toes curl under and press your heel back to give yourself traction through the low back. You're then breathing into your left low back. And if your head's on the floor, that's fine. If you'd like to come up into a Sphinx pose, you can do that too. But if you're lifting your heart, keep it so that your left hip remains pressed into the ground. Okay? So there's a couple different directions here. Right knee to the right, heel presses back, hip into ground, and you breathe into left side a few times. Okay, great. And then you come back to center, return to your midline. Head intuitively wherever you'd like, but notice the front side of your spine. Notice your core line, your center line. And then let's check out the other side. So please take your left knee out to the left. You're also going to slide it out to the left. Okay? And with the left knee out to the left, you're also going to slide your arms and your head to the left. So this is going to get a stretch in the right side. From here, you're going to highlight that stretch by curling your back toes under your right toes. Curl them under and press your heel back. So right leg is active. Okay, so breathe into your right side. Several breaths here. Notice the differences between the first side and this side. Okay, and if you tried it on the first side, perhaps you can try Sphinx pose with your forearms on the ground on the other side. And then so to recap the movements, your left knee is going to the left. Your right toes are curled under, heel presses back. Right hip down. And your breath is going into the right. All this while your jaw is relaxed, especially if this does feel intense. Jaw is relaxed and soft. And there's another few breaths here. Okay, great. And then let's return to midline again. Extend so that both legs are back and relaxed. Spine is neutral. You notice the front side of your spine. Breathe into abdomen a few times. All right. Great. And then from here, I'm going to mirror you again. I have my left hand down, but you're going to place your right forearm on the floor. The bottom leg, you press the heel out. And if balance is a challenge, you're going to keep your top hand on the floor and just place your top foot on two thighs. So this is sort of like a side tree pose, but the tree has been felled. So it's on its side. Really, we're trying to get the low back, the undercarriage. What is what I call this? Breathe into the undercarriage. Breathe into your right kidney space. And as you breathe in your right side, navel rolls toward the floor a little bit. Press your knee up toward the ceiling. If it makes sense for your balance, if it feels okay for your balance and your hips and your arms, you can take a strap around your top foot and hold it either with the strap, or I'm using my first two fingers here. So you can breathe into the undercarriage as you're extending your leg up into Anantasana, a variation, and breathe into your right side another couple times here. If this feels too wobbly, just stick with this, because we will be getting an inner leg stretch next. Okay, so you will still get an inner leg stretch before we're done today. 2 more breaths. Take a big inhale, big exhale. And one last time. Okay, great. And you can release that. Flip over to the other side. Your left forearm is on the floor. The bottom leg, you press the heel out. And so the undercarriage of the pose here, you breathe into your left kidney space. All right. And so we're here. You can keep your hand here for balance. And you can try like a tree pose option, where your navel's rolling down and your knee is pressing up toward the ceiling. So that's breathing into abdomen, breathing into undercarriage. Okay, there's a lot going on here. Jaw stays soft, tongue remains relaxed. Okay, so this is definitely a different perspective on tree pose, but you can press the heel out, legs are active. If it makes sense, you can take a strap around your top foot, or take your first 2 fingers around big toe and press the heel up. So in the abdomen, breathe in the low back. Several breaths here. Good, so one more time here, take a deep breath into the posture. And then exhale from there, you release. Lie on the back now. Pause on your back. Good. Notice the kidney space. And as this has been a while since we've been on the back, are you able to, with all the engagement work we've been doing, are you able to relax more easily after doing some movement work, some breath work, and some work to create space around low back? I hope the answer is yes, but if it's no, that's also fine. The point is to notice. And there's 2 more breaths here. Okay, great. And then from here, please take your strap, and we're gonna, on the back, we're gonna take the strap around our right foot. And you're gonna start with the right leg up in the air. You can make this the loop around the right foot. And then we're gonna take it out to the side. And I've been over this in other videos, but what I like doing with the strap, especially if you have like a longer strap, you can make a shorter loop, like this, and then when you take your leg to the right, thread the strap underneath you, so that you can now use your body weight to hold some of the strap. And some of you, especially if you have an 8 or 10 foot strap, you can hold the strap with your left arm as well as your right arm. So your right arm is not doing all the work by itself. Okay. Ultimately, if that's not working for you, you can hold it with the right arm. But we're going to hold this for 2 minutes. The legs out to the side. You press your heel to the right, roll your navel to the left a little bit, and that helps work with the width from left to right in lower abs. The legs will be doing some work. As you press your heel to the right, press your left heel forward a little. Your arms are doing some work. But we can take a different tack in terms of what we're focusing on. And can you relax your head, feel the weight of your head, feel the weight of your neck, your jaw, even as the pose works on you. And as you're taking breath into abdomen, can your abdominals be receptive? Can your neck be receptive? And can your head be receptive? So we'll pause here, let the pose work on you for about another minute. And so notice the pose now in contrast to about 2 minutes ago. And from here, on your next exhale, you're going to bring your leg back up. You can release the foot and bring it to the floor. All right, and notice the recoiling of the leg, inseam of leg, hamstring. Give it a moment so you can really find the shamatha, the relaxation, the dropping down of your right leg. Okay, great. And then we can try this on the left side. So you can prep your strap if it was threaded underneath you. You can prep for that. You're going to take your foot up and out to the side. So your left leg goes out, and as it goes out, you thread the strap underneath you. So you can hold the strap with your right hand and your left hand, and that's assisted by the weight of your upper body. Okay. Right, and so once you have yourself situated here, you're going to press the heel to the left, roll navel to right, and that helps continue the expansion and the release of the abdominal organs. And the breathing into abdominals works on both the motility of the organ. Motility is sort of like inward organ movement, kind of how flexible the organ needs to be. And then also the space for blood and lymph to flow around our abdominals. So as you press your heel to the left, also press your right heel forward. And especially if the hamstrings or inner legs or anything are tight, there might be some reactivity around jaw, around face. As long as it's not painful, feel free to, acknowledge the intensity, but then relax into this. Let the pose work on you. And we're about halfway done. Another minute or so here in this much more yin pose. All right, so notice the pose now in contrast to 2 minutes ago. And then as you exhale, you can bring your leg back up and release it from the strap. And as it settles down, feel the shamatha of the leg, the softening down, the calm abiding of the leg as it returns toward its own center. Okay. Great, so that was Supta Pada 2. We're now going to take the third version. So from here, roll over onto your left side. And you're going to take the strap around your right foot. So if you're on your left, that means the right foot's the top foot, your right leg's the top leg. You're going to take your right leg out in front, top leg out in front. Bottom leg presses forward. So here we have hamstring stretch on the right, calf stretch, you press the heel out. You can thread the strap underneath you here. So your left hand's holding the strap again. Thread it underneath you. Roll your navel to the right as you press your heel to the left. And so some of you might have the right shoulder down, that's fine. If it's up a little bit, arch your back a little, and that may give you a bit extra twist in the spine. Okay, so this is a revolved, straight-legged supine twist. And this could be work for the arms. The navel's rolling, so this is probably a bit more active in your abdomen and your low back. Press your heels out, but keep your head soft and relaxed. So not only is the top leg, the heels pressing out, but the bottom leg is also pressing out. So there's a lot of action here. You can also be receptive about this. Let the pose do some of the work. And we'll be here for a little over a minute left. All right, and last couple breaths here. Notice how the pose feels now in contrast to 2 minutes ago. And on your next exhale, you can bend your knees a little bit, come back to center, extend both legs, and allow your body to return to center. Feel the ability for the shamatha to really envelop your energy. Okay, great. And then we'll try that on the other side. So you're going to lie on your right, which means your top leg is the left leg. Send your leg out to the left. Sorry, send your leg out to the right. So if you're on your right side, top leg's out. From here, you can thread the strap underneath you. So not only is your right hand holding the strap, but your left hand could hold the strap, and also the strap, there's some body weight keeping the strap in place as well. So press both heels out. You're going to arch your back as you inhale, and then exhale. Roll your navel to the left and roll your heart to the left. So press your heels out, quads stay engaged, press the heels out. So this is this straight-legged supine twist. There's a lot of elements. You can let the elements work on you. The legs are active, arms have to do something. And even in this case, the abdominals, every now and then I roll them over, I arch my back on inhale, exhale, I roll my navel to the left, like we were doing in our seated twists. But the head remains relaxed, feel your ears soft, jaws relaxed. And allow your breath to infuse into your abdominal organs and influence the stretches. We'll be here for another minute or so. All right. Very good. So notice the pose now in contrast to when you first expanded into it. And on your exhale, you can bend your knees, release your foot, and come onto the back. Drop your whole body into the floor. Practice shamatha. Or more accurately, observe it. It's kind of hard to practice. The idea is to not do anything and really let gravity settle the body into the floor. So notice all the shamatha in your body. Okay, great. And then please, you can bend your knees, hug both knees into chest. This helps reference the midline. And so there's one last gentle stretch through the low back, through your sacrum. If this feels like a good last pose before final relaxation, you can stay here and hug in. Keep your head relaxed. Keep your belly relaxed since your arms are doing the work. If you'd like to take happy baby pose, you can also take hold of the feet, and all the same things are at play. Your arms are active, so your abdomen does not have to be. So a couple more breaths into lower abdomen. All right, very good. And then you can release your legs. Again, drop your legs into the floor. And then notice all the shamatha, the dropping down of the bones, dropping down of your internal organs, relaxing of your skin. Down into the floor for final relaxation. So keep on softening, settling down. So even with all of our engagement practices, notice how, almost paradoxically, our ability to relax is enhanced. And since we've been keeping an eye on it the whole time, my hope is this ability to relax is also easier to spot. So see how easy shamatha is to spot for a few minutes. And you can stay attuned to your internal sensations. If you'd like to engage with it, I will read a short poem by David Budbill. I'll read it twice. A certain slant of light, this time of year, says more than color in the hills or chill air, that fall is here. A certain slant of light, this time of year, says more than color in the hills or chill air, that fall is here. Very good. So from here, take a slightly deeper inhale, slightly deeper exhale. Start taking some breath throughout your torso. You breathe into your heart center. You can imagine guiding breath down your arms, guiding breath down your legs. Wiggle your fingers and toes, similar to how we started the practice. Moving the joints of hands and feet. And then hug both knees into chest and breathe into low back like we ended our physical practice. Very good. And then roll over to one side. Pause on your side, see how it feels to move after a brief period of stillness. And then on your next inhale, make your way up to a comfortable seat. All right. Very good. So thank you for practicing with me. Hopefully this focus on relaxation within engagement gave you a couple new insights about perhaps where you hold tension and where you're able to release tension. And I hope you take this ability to relax into the rest of your day. Thank you for your practice, and namaste.